Yo, yo, yo. Hey, guys. Welcome back to the Best Practices Show. My name is Kirk Behrendt. I'm the host here. And every single day, well, almost every day, we're shooting a podcast on problems that are going on in dentistry. Here's what you can expect. Keep showing up. You're going to see every single thing that we do is to make your life better, your practice better. And so you can expect that every time when you show up to this podcast. And today we're going to be talking about one of the hottest issues in dentistry, which is this. I can't figure out the hiring piece. Number one, keeping. Number two, attracting. Number three, recruiting, all that kind of stuff. So I have two of our amazing coaches on, Deena and Courtney, and we share insider secrets. We're a coaching company. So we're going to share secrets of how we help dentists with this very problem. So check this episode out. I know you'll love it. And we'll see you soon. Welcome back to the Best Practices Show, and we're just going to roll because that's how we roll. I like saying that. I don't even know what that means, but we're excited you're here, and I have two of my amazing coaches. I've got Deena and Courtney on my team, and today we're going to be talking about, because I was asking them okay, I got a lot of subjects I want to cover and things like this, and we can go all, but the hiring thing is huge, and so they both agree I could talk about this one forever, and they have some firm opinions. Now, here's why this episode is so good for you as a dentist if you're listening. We're going to share insider secrets. We're going to talk to you in this episode as if you're a dentist. Heck, I might even play the dentist here, and you guys can beat me up. And that's why you have to have a coach, because if you don't have a coach, you talk to yourself, and 80% of self-talk is what? It's negative talk. So you don't want to talk to yourself. I do it, and my son will see my lips moving, and he's like, Dad, I can see that. And I'm like, what? You can see that? Yeah. So as you can imagine, it's great to surround yourself with great people. So Deena, Heather, how are you guys doing?
Good. Yeah. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah. So I always like to give you guys just 1 minute, who the heck are you guys? Who's Deena and who's Courtney? Who are you guys? Just give us a little 10-second or 1 minute insight on who you guys are.
Sure. So I'm Deena, and I actually got started in dentistry. Let's see, it's been about, over 15 years now. And I live in Chicago with my husband, Matt. And what I love so much about just being here today with you guys is I actually got to experience our program as a team member. So I saw Kirk, several years ago, and they actually coached a practice that I worked in. So it's been really fun to kind of go through our process as a team member and now be coaching it.
Love it. Cool. And Courtney, who are you?
Deena, I love that you've had that full circle moment. I love that. I'm Courtney. I am another coach here at Act Dental. I'm a hygienist by trade. Just like Deena, I've been in dentistry for probably about 15 years. And I've experienced some coaching outside Act Dental, but Act is just it's a different animal. And I love that we love teams and we love to put the focus on the foundation. So I'm excited to talk hiring.
Yeah, I am too. And I love how you said that, focusing on teams and the foundation. So I'm going to ask you about that, but let's start at the top. So if you're a dentist listening, you're probably going to agree to this whole say, is hiring hard? Heck yes. It's harder than ever. I actually hate the phrase great resignation, but the truth of it is it's what's happening. People are questioning everything now. And so you as a dentist, the reason you're listening to this podcast is you're trying to make sense of the world and your practice is you're trying to make sense of how do we hire? How do we find, keep, attract, grow great people? And so let's start with the foundation, you guys, and you guys jump in. But, I'll throw this out there. I think one of the things that you have to do as a dentist is just set the sail hey, listen, I know who I want to be or we want to be as a practice. That's the first thing, because, and if you've been listening to the podcast, you know I'm a big fan of Atomic Habits. And Deena, you told me about this like a year ago. My wife told me about the book 2 years ago. And Courtney, I know you're reading. Like, it's crazy. That book is so good. So step number one is read Atomic Habits, because you're going to read it and it really gives you a great foundation for how to make your practice and your life better. But one of the most important questions is, who do you want to be? Because all of your emotions support that. Now, when you stay consistent with who you want to be, which is going to include your core values, meeting with my team, doing check-ins, we're looking for a specific way that we care for patients. Now I can stay focused on that, because you can't control the winds that blow in the world. You can't control like a lot of things that are out there, but you can certainly control which direction your sail is set. Would you guys agree with that?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I think it all leads back to core values and making sure that you have an established vision before you even start the hiring process.
Yeah, but Deena, I'm a dentist listening, like, whatever. Core values. Okay, come on. I've heard. Now I'm having fun with you guys, and and you guys that are listening. And I was that person who was like, oh yeah, core values are really important. They're awesome. Yeah, that's great. Core values and vision, but I need somebody to work at the front. So how important? Like, go into how. Like, is this a, like on a scale from 1 to 10, is this like a 4 or a 3? Like, how important is core values to hiring and finding the right people?
A 10, absolutely.
Why? Tell us why.
Because I have had a team where there was an issue, and you guys know who I'm talking about, and doctor, if you're listening, you know who you are, but there was a big issue with a team member, and I kept saying the issue is that they're not a good core values fit, and I kept getting brushed off until it sort of hit them in the face that, yeah, you're right. It's because they're not a bad person. They're just not a great fit for the direction the practice is going and for the belief that the practice has and how it wants to move forward. So all roads lead back to core values. I would say 1 to 10, a 12.
Amen, sister. And I'll just throw this in there. If your core values don't line up with another human being, it never, ever, 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 I can't say ever enough, works. At some point, the relationship is going to fail, and you're going to go, what happened? She was brilliant. Yes, she was brilliant, but you guys didn't care about the same things. So it never, ever works. It always falls apart at some point. And I'll throw this in the room too, if you're listening, like really the formula for how to grade now here, we're going to throw this out, and then your job is to fill it and to use it, but it's right people, right seats. That's all it is. You're building a dental practice. And what Courtney said is absolutely true. It's core values, and we'll show you this, how this right person, right seat. Right person fits your core values. If they don't fit your core values, they're not the right person, period. Right seat is they're good at what they do. They get results. They get it, they want it, and they have the capacity to do it. They're actually really good at the role. When you put those two together, the magic happens. The problem in defense of most team members is, if I'm a team member, most dental team members don't know what the core values are. We've never even talked about core values. You come back from all these courses in Scottsdale, doctor, and you talk about the direction and the beauty of the dentistry and how we want to do a comprehensive exam and we want to take photos, but that's not core values, right? Like, team members are often confused because dentists think they communicate, but they don't, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I would love for you to speak to, how to attract those people, Kirk. So yeah, we can put out a fancy ad and all of this, and we can have our core values up on the wall, but how do we attract those people?
Okay, bottom line. Okay, ooh, you're going to go there, aren't you? Okay. They're terrified. Like, so you have to know this about my team. I love them dearly, and then I often voluntold them for this stuff, and they're like, "What? I'm not." So we'll have some fun banter going back and forth. But Deena, you're asking the $1,000,000 question. So let's just start with any dental practice that's listening. The number one thing you have to do is invest in your current people. You got to invest in your current environment. No different than building a practice. You don't want to find new people. Like, you're going to do that. But the first investment we have to make is in the people. Your patients come second. Your people come first. And if you're making an investment in your people, you want to start to coalesce them around a conversation about what matters. And so I had a coach come into this very office and almost punch me in the face verbally and say, listen, where's your core values? And I was like, oh yeah, I love that conversation, but I didn't have them written anywhere. And he looked in my face. I'll never forget his eyes. He was like, shut up. Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. you're the smallest company I work with. That's what he said to me. He's like, we don't do anything. And I mean nothing until we figure out what your core values are, because everything is going to go through that lens. And you know what? He was right. And I often thought the core values conversation would be everything positive, but you use your core values most often when you have to make difficult decisions, like what you were talking about, Courtney. It's like the hardest stuff in the world, and you got to go to your most important manual in your playbook, which is, who am I? Like, who the heck am I? Because when you're making decisions consistently with who am I, and you've created a logo, a little swag, a little conversation, maybe some videos, maybe a page on your website. You can go to the Act Dental website and see what we created. Like, you got to do this your own way. But like, I made the flag in the ground. Like, this is who we are. These are the behaviors we subscribe to. I don't even need brilliant anymore. I like brilliant. I'll take a team of people working together at any day for anything for the right reasons, because you can dominate any industry. And I completely agree with that thought process. And then put your flag in the ground. So Deena, your question is, my answer is this: put your flag in the ground and go, this is who we are. And then find a way to put it into how you communicate every day. You know, Adriana created swell bottles with the first version of the logo. And I'll never forget when I got that swell bottle, I was like, dude, they're alive. Like, now I got to talk about them. Then, you know, we created the sweatshirts, and actually we got a new hire this, you know, recently, and his name's Andy. He walked in this morning with the sweatshirt on. I'm like, dude, nice sweatshirt. You know, like, I go home. Actually today, this is so funny. Sarah left the house this morning wearing the sweatshirt. You know, and the sweatshirt says Act Dental Core Values. Now, those are ours. If you go to our website right now, go to About Us, you're going to see a page on core values. I brought in a whole bunch of props. Most of them were things in my kids' rooms. And so I told every team member, like, just act this out. And we got some photos, and you'll see each one of our 6 core values is illustrated in some type of photo. Now, what that does for us, number one, internally, is it helps us work together. Now, our coach also made us do this. I thought it was terrible. I thought it was dumb. I thought it was hokey. Put your hands in and then call it a core value. So I had to go like this, put my hand in. I was like, this is so dumb. And then we still do it. And it's probably my favorite thing, is like to prove to ourselves they're alive. So that's the first place I'd start, is right there. And then the second thing is that your outward communication, you know, and again, there's so many layers to this, Deena, because you're opening up Pandora's box here, because your core values become the glue. It becomes the reason why. It becomes how you know, articulate all of your movements, how you talk to patients. You're going to find that your favorite team members care about the same things. Your favorite patients care about the same things. Your least favorite people you ever meet, they won't care about the same things. So I would start there. And is that good enough for your answer?
Yeah,
Like, start there?
And I think another way to really attract people that align with your values is to really just kind of call it out in your ad. Here's what we represent, right? I absolutely love that, because I think that your best team members, or the best team members in dentistry, they have a job. They have a position right now, right? And, you know, they're looking for something else because of a cultural change or a leadership change. And so if our ads stand out and share what we represent, we're more likely to attract people who align with those values.
Totally agree. Courtney, what are your thoughts?
You know, I was about ready to say the exact same thing. I had a practice that I was recently helping with hiring, and we made this really great ad and I had them put in their core values. And I said, describe nothing, just list them. And I helped them filter through the resumes that came through. And of every single phone interview that I did, one person mentioned the core values and asked me what they were, sparked a conversation about how much she loved them, how interesting they really were. That was the right fit. That's who ended up getting hired. Not because, and I didn't put any bias towards it, but when you read the ad and there's something so unique like core values, I would venture a guess that not a lot of people maybe have them or are familiar with them, but the right person that you want in your office is going to see that and say, oh, that's interesting. All in attitude. What's that? I think that lines up with me, or whatever your values are. So I love that. List it, attract the right people. The right person is going to read that and squeeze their way through to the front of the line.
Yeah, I love that. And then also too, you guys know this, a great question you can ask anybody that you're interviewing when you're trying to attract the right person is, what did you like about the ad? Your favorite people that will end up making it through to the latter parts of interviews will mention, like, this just seems different. I love your core values. I have been looking for this. Now, it's funny that you say that because 25 years of running this company, I've never done this. I've never written an ad. I've always thought to myself, a team member can do that. I have great people around me. That's not really something I should do as the business owner writing an ad. I said, forget it. I'm writing the ad this time. So I spent like 2 days. I poured my heart and soul. Now the ad itself, it's weird. Okay, so if you want a copy of it, email me at kirk@actdental.com. You're gonna see it's one of the weirdest ads you've ever seen. And it goes something like this. Core values mean everything to us. If you're not interested, just delete this and go on to something else. Like, I put it right in the ground. Like, I'm looking for somebody that can do this, but what's more important is I need somebody who can believe this, who can be all in. And I actually gave it to Barrett, who helps me. I go, dude, don't change one word. Like, it's not even written. The grammar's horrible. I've misspelled a whole bunch of things. I want it to be so pure that when somebody reads it, they'll go, there was a lot of effort. And yeah, this guy can't spell, but like, he was trying to make a point when making this, because what you're going to find, now I'll tell you, the thing blew up. It was ridiculous. Actually, Barrett said, I can't even look at all this. This is so stupid. Like, how many people applied for the role? Because now we're not looking at taking anybody away. Again, let's go back to the beginning. You're just setting your sail. This is who I'm going to be. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to invest in these people first. Then I'm going to create these core values. We're going to coalesce our behaviors. Now you're going to have to call people out, yourself included, when they're not acting within the core values. And that's okay. It's totally okay. And then when you attract people into the core values thing, what a great opportunity this is. Now, one more thing, because I have hours of this. Because we want to help you guys. If you're listening, like, I hope you're hearing this and you're taking notes. If you're driving, don't take notes. But like, when you get heavy into core values, there's 2 things I want to add. When you lean into your core values, the weird stuff goes away. I'm telling you right now, when you lean heavily into who you are and what you believe, the weird stuff of infighting, conflict, triangulation, it's strange, but it goes away. Not completely, but goes away for the most part. And then, Courtney, you said something, right person with the core values. I've come to this conclusion at 51 years old. If somebody fits my core values, we'll find a spot for them. I mean, you might hire somebody at the front desk, and they're not good at the front desk, but they're good at your core value. They fit your core. We're going to make them the greeter. I mean, we'll find a spot for them because they're leaning in. So I think that's just really important. What other components? You guys coach dentists all day long on this whole thing. What else would you say to a dentist who's really stressed right now about, I can't find great people? I feel like I'm being held hostage by some of these people that apply, or even some of my own team members. Now, in all fairness, let's speak to both sides of it. What do you say to a dentist when they bring that to you?
I go back with just getting creative with it. Getting creative with putting out, in our, even in like our social media, like, how can we continue to attract people, who are excited about our values, excited about who we are. I mean, people aren't looking for an ad that talks about, all of their responsibilities. They're looking for something that stands out. Right. So go into it as you're on the other end. What's going to stand out? Even ask some of your team members. Maybe you're looking for a hygienist. As a hygienist, what would stand out to you? What are some things that you would like to see in order to click that button and apply?
Love it. Love it. Courtney, what do you tell dentists when you're having your coaching calls and they're stressed about shortages on their team, or things aren't healthy with their team in this respect?
If at all possible, if we can avoid the hiring crisis right now, because everyone's in it and everybody's feeling it, is there an alternative within who we have to get everybody realigned? Do we really have to hire? Is the issue that someone wants to leave who's unhappy? Can we have more frequent check-ins with that team member and get back in alignment? Will that solve the problem? Is it on the clinical end or the admin end? It's so easy to say, okay, we'll terminate and we'll stop this working relationship. But is that the easiest thing right now? No, there's not a whole lot of bite. So maybe really the answer is more internal than external.
Yeah, absolutely. And you use the word check-ins, which we're a big fan of. If you listen to anything we've done, and you're going to see big companies do this. So remember, the principle is invest in your current people. You should be having a regular check-in, not a review. That's not what I'm talking about. Because that's an appointment to talk about my race. Don't do that. A regular check-in is an opportunity scheduled appointment where you're really listening to a team member. You show them by your behavior and how they show up that I care about you. Now, I'll give you the simple version of it. Just set up an appointment, 30 minutes with each one of your team members on a regular, business high, business low, professional high, professional low. And then what else can I help you with? If you create a regular cadence of doing that and you just stop talking, dentists, don't talk, let them talk. And just take notes and ask them questions. They're going to think one thing: wow, my dentist cares. That works. It really does. You're going to create a better team just by doing that. The other thing is, I'll add this. If you're a dentist right now, the long tail of this is more important than the short tail. Yes, you're stressed right now and you're trying to find somebody. So what you do typically is you place an ad and you find the least worst option right now because you need somebody. Do you know what I mean? I got all these candidates. Which one is the least worst? Bad thinking. Better thinking is I'm always looking to attract great people. So I like the idea of always being on the lookout for somebody, even if you don't need them right now. And, engaging in a conversation that if someday this works, I like to call that the bench. We've got a bench going. And you're realistic and honest about expectations when they start. So right now we're in conversations with 2 people. We don't need them yet, but if there's a day where it would work, then we might pull that trigger instead of doing what I used to do in the past, which is blast out an ad, go to Indeed, and then in 3 weeks, we just take least worst option. So that's one piece. A second thing that you might want to consider is a retired bench. And what do you might say, what's that? These are people that have worked for you in the past. They're now retired, but they were awesome employees and they don't need to work. And Barrett introduced this to me because we actually have a team member working for us right now. Her name is Patience. It's funny that her name is Patience because she needs it if she works with me. But Patience used to work with Barrett. She handled everything at the front. She also did all of his bookkeeping. She's retired now. She's awesome. She really doesn't want to work. So we approached her and said, hey, look, we need somebody like you. Do you want to work? Yeah. Not full time though. Can I work on my own? For sure. Can I work a couple hours a day? Sure. Can I work, absolutely. What a great addition to our team. Do you know what I mean? She's really good at what she does. She cares about us and fits our core values. So that's something to consider, a retired bench. And then lastly, always talking about core values, and we have a practice not too far from this. They found an amazing hygienist. They just put it out to their team and said, hey, listen, we're looking for somebody. And the team members were on the lookout. And so they get extra protective once you've bought into the core values. And so if they actually say, nope, she's good, but she'd be mess here. Where that wouldn't have existed in the past. They would have just flooded your practice with those type of people. So they're extra protective about who they bring in the environment. So putting those out there, and again, it's the long tail of it. It's not the short tail of it. No different than a great baseball team has a farm team. Do you know what I mean? Or even a high school football program has younger programs at the youth level because we're all getting ready to play on the main stage. I don't even know if that worked, but that's kind of what I'm thinking in that respect. But what other challenges do you guys see when it comes to the hiring piece?
Well, I was just going to add in, Kirk, on what you had said before. Sometimes tapping into your own team who already does align with how you think and your core values. That's one of the best assets that you can tap into, is to network through them. If they are a good fit with you, they probably know people who are a good fit with them and inherently would be a likely good fit for you. And if you lean into your team, when you do have those people come in, ask them their opinion. Yeah. If your team is really strong and your team feels like this wouldn't be a good fit, they're probably right. If they love that person, if they know that, even if they do know that person or if they don't, and they say, yes, we would love to work with, him or her or whoever. Listen to your team. They're your best resource sitting right there that can help guide you through the hiring process.
Totally agree. Totally agree. You also want to, when you're looking at this process, you got to homogenize the whole process, which means you got to standardize it in a way that you're not biased by anything, because people can create beautiful resumes and they put a lot on there. And so when you standardize it, you can say, okay, who are we looking for? And one of the pieces I'm going to encourage you to standardize, and Deena, I still remember your video, and Courtney, yours, like, ask people to submit a video from their phone about why they would be a great candidate. It's a game changer. It's amazing, because you get some of these videos and you're like, oh my goodness. And so they're going to send you a video. If they can't use a phone and create a video and talk confidently about why they'd be a good fit for your office, they don't have the skills to confidently communicate with human beings, because that's just the truth of it. And it's awesome to see what they say. It just tidies up your whole, it saves you hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of hours, because now you don't have to call people in and commit a whole hour to somebody who you meet right away. You go, I don't know about this. They're going to up their game and they're going to try to impress you. And that's my hope, that they do in some way do that. So you can certainly do that in the hiring process. And I also want to talk about this. We're talking about all the good stuff. But there's going to be moments in the hiring and developing, you're going to have some bad stuff. And when you do a check-in, what's really cool about having core values is, if you read the book Traction, they're going to encourage you to use what's called a people analyzer, which is, we're going to talk about our core values and tell you and call it out when you're not aligned. The cool thing about creating this, I don't have a tattoo, but if I ever get one, it's going to be my core values, because it works. You know what I mean? You can look at that logo, and it might be on your sweatshirt, or it might just be on a piece of paper, and you can go, oh, these things matter to me. And it's a stabilizing document between you and your team members. And I think Jenny, Jenny referred this, and I love this a couple of weeks. It's the third person in the room. It's not between me and you. It's a commitment that we've made as a team to what we believe. And so I can call out behavior that's not consistent. Now, your team will do the same thing too. But I'll tell you, your favorite people love to talk about it. They like to lean into it. And they also like to be coached from the person who runs the practice and give them feedback. Here's one other thing. This is a great tip. When you hire somebody, ask them one question. Do you like to be coached? Do you like feedback about how you're doing? And it isn't what they say, it's how they say it that matters. Because some people go, yeah, I like to be coached, which means probably they don't. But you can say, listen, remember when I hired you, I asked you the question, do you like to be coached? So can I give you some coaching? What you're doing is you're opening up the doors with permission to tell them what you are experiencing, and you can lean right into core values, and it's your truth. It gives the opportunity for the team member clear sight on how to succeed. I always love to come to the defense of team members first, because it's real easy to throw team members under the bus when you're having a conversation like this. But the truth of it is most team members, any employee of any company in the United States has never been given a clear line of sight of how to succeed in a business. They're just thrown into it and some person goes, go, and they never given the rules. They've never been told how to succeed, and they never have a regular check-in to see what the expectations are and how they're doing against the reality, and what an awesome opportunity that is. So any last thoughts? Because I could talk for 4 hours on this one. So let's give everybody one last piece of advice, or leave them with a good thought if a dentist is listening about the hiring process. And then we can bring this to a close. What do you think? Who wants to go first?
Why don't we come up with I think maybe even have a couple questions that I would ask in the interview process. And one of the questions I like to ask is, what does your ideal environment look like? What does your ideal dental practice look like? By their response will help you really vet them out to see if that is somebody that aligns with your practice culture.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Your questions are the answers. Like, great questions. Now that you say that, you could list out all of your core values, and we might do this, all 6 of them, and go, these are core values. How do you think you would fit with core value 1? How do you think you would show up with core value 2? How does this relate? Give me a story in how this would relate, because these are really important to your expectations here. I love that. And they can give you some insight. Courtney, any thoughts you would give people just to make them feel better about the hiring process or, or situation?
I think it all goes back to two things. If you're going to go external, list the core values, make your ad different. If it's a big fat paragraph of words all together, that's boring. That doesn't stand out. Even if the content is great, make it look different. Make me want to click on that and open it and read it, and add your core values in there to see whose antennas go up once they do read those. And if you're able to keep it internal, lean into your team, network through them, see who they know, see who they can branch out to. I know it feels difficult right now, but there's ways around avoiding this hiring crisis that we've all called it. We can do it. We can get through it.
We can totally get through it. And so Laura, who's our office manager here, she also had a great idea yesterday. She goes, you ever see those guest books, like when you go to a wedding and you have to fill them out? What if a dentist created a guest book for their front desk, and it had all their core values, and somebody was responsible for just keeping track of what happened, and we could show it daily or monthly, and we could call out a core values champion at the end of the year, or put some photos in there too. It's like our guest book. It's our documentation of these things coming alive, because when you can get behind them, they can get behind them, and they're documented and you talk about them, they only become that more powerful in your practice. And I'll leave you with this last thought. If you're a dentist and you own your own practice, it's what both of these amazing coaches have said. There's nothing more important, and I mean nothing more important, than having the right people around you. Like that is, Courtney, you said 12 on core values. Like I'd say the same thing about any dental practice. Like when you find the right people and you put them in the right seats, your life has changed. Your practice gets better and you don't even know why. You're looking around going, what the heck is going on here? I don't know. You enjoy going to work. You enjoy who you are. Your patients see it in your face because you're happier. Your spouse sees it, or significant other when you come home. Your kids go, wow, you're just happier. And you go, yes, I am. I just am. You know why? Because you got the right people. The great Pete Dawson used to say, when you get the right people, you can produce twice as much in half of the time with a quarter of the stress. Pete, you are smarter than you know. Bam, that's it. Drop the mic. So thank you guys for being on. Hey, listen, I'm just going to say this too. If you're a dentist listening, you're struggling, don't do that. We're coaches. So if you're struggling to get your practice going, don't do that. Life is too short. Think about this. Today's as young as you're ever going to be. That's it. You're not going to say, yeah, next year I got younger. No, get something done. Get your practice moving in the right direction. And it's silly to try to do it on your own. Get a great coach. It doesn't have to be us. I mean, I think it should be us because we're the best. Now, I'm opinionated, but like get somebody to push you, because they're going to hold you accountable like these two amazing women will do. And you'll show up for the calls a little nervous. You're like, wow, I got to make some big decisions here. And they'll push you to make the right decisions for you. We want you to enjoy going to work. And I'll leave you with one last thought. Remember, when you have a better practice, you have a better life. And that's what we want for you guys. You guys have a great day. And until we see you next time, keep watching the Best Practices Show.